All right, let's talk about something that sounds, well, kind of impossible. Building your own professional-grade phone system. But you're about to see how it's actually way more doable than you think. We're going to break down the hard way and then the smart way.
Whenever you call a big company and you hear that, press 1 for sales, press 2 for support message, you're talking to one of these systems. But what if I told you that you could build one for yourself with all the bells and whistles and do it using totally free open source software?
The magic behind all this is something called a PBX, or Private Branch Exchange. And at its core, it's just a private phone network for a company. It's the brain that handles everything. Calls between employees, calls to the outside world, you name it.
And the tool that makes this all possible is called Asterisk. It is the free open-source engine that powers millions of phone systems, from tiny startups to massive call centers. It gives you all the raw power and all the pieces you need to build basically anything you can dream up.
And when I say power, I'm not kidding. We're talking about all the pro features you'd normally pay a ton of money for. Things like voicemail that automatically emails you the audio file, call queues to handle tons of incoming calls, custom music on hold, super detailed call logging, conference calling. Seriously, the list just keeps going.
So, how do you actually get all this working? Well, the traditional way, the pure Asterisk way, is a journey. It's a deep dive into command lines and configuration files. Now, it gives you absolute control, but it's not exactly a walk in the park.
To really get a feel for what I mean, let's take on what sounds like a really simple task. We're just going to add one single voicemail box to one phone extension. Easy enough, right? Let's see.
Okay, first, you have to find and edit a specific file called voicemail.conf. Inside this text file, you have to define all the general settings for how you want voicemail to work. Stuff like the audio format, if it should be an attachment, and so on. Then you set up the specific box number, give it a PIN, and add the person's email address. Phew, okay, one file down.
But you're not done. Not even close. Now you have to go into a totally different file called extensions.conf. This is the dial plan. It's like the master rulebook for every call. In here, you have to write the actual logic that says, hey, if a call comes in for this extension and it's busy, or if they don't answer, then you should send that call over to the voicemail box we just made. Oh, and you also have to create a brand new extension, like *97, just so the user has a way to dial in and check their messages.
You feeling the complexity build up here? And remember, all we've done so far is set up a simple internal feature. If you want to actually make and receive calls to and from the rest of the world, you need to set up what's known as a SIP trunk.
And yep, you guessed it, this means editing even more text files. You have to manually define your registration info, your username and password, something called the address of record, the endpoint. You even have to specify the IP addresses your provider uses just for security. Every single one of these steps is another line of code in a file that has to be absolutely perfect, or it just won't work.
And look, you don't just have to take my word for it. This is a direct quote from someone walking through this very process in a tutorial. Even the experts who live and breathe this stuff will tell you, doing it the manual way can be a bit of a pain.
But what if there was another way? A way to get all of that raw, incredible power of Asterisk without spending your entire life editing text files in a command line? Well, there is, and its name is FreePBX.
So what is FreePBX? It's a fantastic web-based dashboard, a graphical user interface, or GUI, that sits right on top of the Asterisk engine. Here's the best way to think about it. Asterisk is the super high-performance car engine, and FreePBX is the clean, simple, intuitive dashboard that lets you drive the car without needing to be a mechanic.
And this is where the difference becomes so clear it's almost funny. Remember all that work to set up one voicemail box? Editing multiple different files, writing custom logic? In FreePBX, you click Add Extension. You fill out a simple form with their name, and you just flip a switch that says Voicemail Enabled. Then you click one button, Apply Config. You're done.
Here's another perfect example. Let's say you're in the UK, and you want your system prompts, please leave a message, to have a British accent instead of an American one. The old Asterisk way? You'd have to manually find and download the right sound pack, move all the audio files to the correct server directory, and then edit yet another config file. The FreePBX way? You find a drop-down menu, you select United Kingdom, and you're finished.
It's a night and day difference.
But here's the most important point. Whether you took the hard road or the smart road, you end up with the exact same incredibly powerful Asterisk engine running underneath it all. And once that's up and running, you can tap into some amazing professional-grade features.
One of the most valuable things you get is data logging. I mean, every single call that flows through your system, who called who, when they called, how long they talked, if the call was even answered, all of that can be logged. And for a business, that is an absolute goldmine of information.
This is what those logs look like. They're called Call Detail Records, or CDRs. It's just a simple database table. You can see the exact date and time, the number that called, where it was going, how long it lasted, and what happened. Was it answered or not? You can use this to track everything from marketing campaign effectiveness to employee productivity.
Another killer feature, especially for any kind of sales or support team, is call queues. If you're getting more calls than you have people to answer, a queue can automatically manage it. It'll put callers on hold, play some music, and then smartly distribute the calls to the next available person using strategies like ring everybody at once or go one by one. It's a total game changer. So, after seeing all of this, what's the big takeaway? It really boils down to that classic technology trade-off. Do you want absolute, fine-grained control, or do you want speed and convenience? This slide just sums it all up perfectly. If you go with pure Asterisk on the command line, you get total granular control. But the learning curve is super steep and setting things up is slow and careful work. With FreePBX, the control is more streamlined, but the learning curve is gentle and the setup is incredibly fast. But now look at that last row. This is the most important part. The underlying power in both cases is absolutely identical.
And ultimately, the choice really just comes down to what kind of person you are. If you're a tinkerer, someone who loves getting their hands dirty and building things from the ground up to understand every little piece, then pure Asterisk is your path. But if you just want a ridiculously powerful and flexible phone system that's easy to set up and manage, FreePBX is, without a doubt, the way to go.
So that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. When it comes to your projects, what do you value more? The raw, deep power of the command line, or the incredible speed and ease of a polished interface? There's no right or wrong answer, but knowing which you prefer is everything. That's it for this time on The Explainer.